Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's the happy third day of Lorne. Is it the third day, guys?
Yeah,
Of
I think so.
Lorne's time of
Sure. I have
a
no idea.
time a time of the year when us internet weirdos get together and celebrate the up and coming birthday of a sex offender, which is. Have you ever tried explaining that to someone in your life, or even just a casual acquaintance, and seeing what the reaction is?
Yeah, and they all sort of assume I'm some sort of paedophile.
It does seem like. I mean, obviously, you have to go a little bit further and say, well, it's not. We're not really celebrating his birthday. We're kind of like he got crucified on his birthday and sent down for his crime, so we're kind of celebrating that aspect of it. But it's all part of the law of Lorne, isn't it? The fact that he got busted on his birthday, and it's 30 days before his birthday that he started the chat with Kayla.
Well, I think one of the most sort of reasons that Lorne was funniest out of all the Predators is the way that on the sting itself, when Chris Hansen asks him how old he is, and he goes 37, and then really quietly, today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he mentions it in his lawsuit as well, which is quite funny. The fact that it was his birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if it's one day of the year they should let you off for trying to shag a 13-year-old, it's your birthday, no?
Yeah.
That was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah, I just got distracted by a text message which I really didn't need to see at this moment in time. It's kind of, yeah, but I'll carry on. That's the thing of smartphones, you can never switch off. Yeah, it's his birthday thing is kind of like, it makes it extra special, doesn't it? The fact that he kind of, it's like a double punishment for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that, when he mentions it in the stream, sorry, when Chris Hansen was there, he mentions it in his lawsuit. It's kind of, I mean, the fact that he actually thought that would sway a court or a judge into giving him sympathy. Oh, they busted him on his birthday, the heartless bastards. Yeah. It's like, what a terrible, those NBC people, I mean, really, have they got any humanity left at all? Could they not have just waited until the day after? What?
But that's,
he wrote that down as well.
But I mean, it was
such a childish way.
It was his birthday treat to himself, though, wasn't it? It was like, yeah, this is what I'll do for my birthday. So, like, he brought it on himself, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just. I was thinking about this the other day. I might have mentioned it to you, Adam. I think I did. Lorne is like somebody from 200,000 years ago, like a Neanderthal, if you will, or at least some offshoot of what humans are at the minute, has been plonked into the modern world and just kind of gone. It's like an experiment by aliens. Like, what we'll do is we'll see how an old sort of less evolved being will do in the modern world, because we're not doing a very good job of it anyway. It's like, well, let's see what this guy does. And this chat log is the result of it. It's like he's trying to make. What's funny is one of the latest. I think it's the latest call that Blue Boy put on his channel, which I can't remember what it was called, but it was where
the other decoys.
Huh?
It's called The Other Decoys, isn't it? The latest one, I think.
No, I don't think that one. I think that might be on Heelborn's channel.
Sorry.
But I'm talking about the one where the robot proposes to Casey. Or it might be the other way around.
Oh, yeah.
And Lorne, his reaction is just kind of dumbfounded. And then he's kind of... he's just kind of going, I just don't understand what's going on. And it's like, of course you don't. It's all bullshit. It's remarkable to me that at that point, the cogs don't start turning. And he goes, right, okay, let's look at this. Well, you can't look at it logically. But you get where I'm coming from. I'm sure that surely everybody had that thought at that point when he was reading, when he was listening to that.
So are you saying he's like that movie? I can't remember what it was called, where they find like the Stone Age man. It might have been called that or something. But if he was a sort of pervert.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but even like, obviously his early dating life was a total disaster from what we know, and he's just kind of struggled since then, really, and sort of gone. He's like the analogy I use of the fucking the sea lion on the beach who can't get the of age females, and then goes after the younger ones that are not ready. He's like that. He's just. But anyway, that's another topic. But yeah, because we're delving into all kinds of stuff there. But yeah, I just find his fumbling around amusing. It's like the Beanie Babies thing when he's always trying to like come up with some financial scheme.
Yeah. But like 10 years after the Beanie Baby bubble had burst, he's such an fucking idiot. It's brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so what I thought with this was, I have to give a mention to somebody who set up a website called 87 Words, the Lorne Armstrong blog. I don't know who it was, but basically, 87 Words, a Lorne Armstrong blog. One of you two put me in this direction, I think. I can't remember who it was. I'm sure it was. But it's basically a load of long quotes that someone has very cleverly put on a website. And I was looking at those and going, like, some of them, because we've done streams before where we've just talked and discussed and had a laugh at his quotes. And they're very funny because he's almost trying to be profound in a lot of what he says. He thinks he has wisdom locked in his brain that he's trying to unleash and also outmaneuver whoever his opponent is at the time. And he just ends up...
He's so smart, it'll make your head spin.
He's always... What's that? I was just going to come out with one then to respond, but we're going to go through them sort of bit by bit, and some of them are just funny. But what I'm trying to do is like come up with something where it's almost like a profound comment that he's coming out with. And what's funny about it is you're trying to figure. There's always a point of what he was trying to make. Sometimes he just comes out with complete nonsense because he's drunk, he's pissed off, he's getting wound up by the catfish. All that stuff's going on. But sometimes he's trying to be so profound, like some of the stuff he comes out with. It's part of what makes him an entertaining rabbit hole to fall down, because there's so much humour and stuff to grab hold of. I mean, you're a fan of his utterings as well, aren't you, Amanda James?
Oh yeah, of course. I agree. I like it when I like to try to figure out what he's trying to say, like with the unearned ladder comment. That phrase, don't try to climb a ladder you haven't earned.
Yeah.
I like to try to unravel it and figure out what the fuck he was trying to say.
Exactly.
And why he chose that way to say it. Oh, I've got one. I doubt that it's on this list, but it just popped into my mind. And it's really stupid and doesn't make sense. And
it's really stupid. It doesn't make sense. Are you sure this was spoken by Lorne?
It's true. Yeah. I thought it was really funny. I don't know. Maybe you guys will just think it's stupid, but he was talking to Winnie, and he was like trying to make her promise that she hadn't done drugs that day or something. Oh, sorry, my dog. And he said, swear on Rhoda's life. And she said, she didn't answer him. And he said, you won't swear on her life. You'd be a real prude if you did.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't think he knows. I don't know. That's why it's so funny. You'd be a real fucking prude if you did.
I think that's why there's quite a lot of humour in these things, because he doesn't understand what certain words mean. He doesn't understand how to use them. That's why he's not articulate, and it's why is not very good at writing novels. Now, I can't even imagine how difficult it is. Way beyond my ability. I thought about writing a book at one. I was like, don't even fucking bother. I know what my limitations are, but I love reading them. And you know, when you read a good book, you're like, fucking hell, it must be so difficult. It must take so long. And when you read Lorne's book, Taken Abroad, he actually, right, this is controversial, he actually did a better job than what I would have thought he did. But that by no means is any credit. I would have thought it would have been the cat sat on the mat, the end. But at least there was some form of narrative. But it was for him, it was a spectacular effort. I really do think it was, like, for his...
If you were his English teacher, what would you have graded his novel or essay?
I wouldn't have graded it. Also, this is a piece of shit. I'm just saying, for him, it wasn't like from his perspective, he genuinely thought that was the greatest American novel. Like, that's why. I mean, you didn't see it, Adam, but his book, we did like he wrote an introduction for his book, and there was like a dedication section. I think there was like an introduction and a dedication section, and we were enraged and furious just from his dedications. I'm going off topic here, but his dedication section enraged us because it was just like he was going, oh, and to my mother who's been through hell, and we're like, yeah, because you fucking put her there, you piece of shit. You know, it was like the audacity in what he was coming out with was off the scale. I'm getting enraged now. But like Huh?
Oh, sorry. Huh?
Yeah. So, but with regard to the actual literary content and his use of language, it just made you realise how poor he is, and it's not. You know, we can't have a go. Not everybody is that talented in that way. You know, everybody's got their own strengths and weaknesses. But he tried to write a book.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. Not everyone is talented in that way, but not everyone tries to write a book and sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that he thought that would be the solution to his financial problems is what makes it so funny. I would grade Lorne's writing as something that maybe a sixth grader would come up with. I think a sixth grader could write that book, maybe even write it better.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, he's like an adult man. How old
is a sixth grader? You'll have to forgive my lack of knowledge of American school system.
11?
Right. Yeah, I can.
Grader
I agree.
Is like 11.
I agree with that.
So he gets no points from me. It was arrogance that made him think he could write a book.
100%.
And stupidity.
We're grateful that he did, though.
At least he wrote a book, though. Like, they say that everyone's got one good book. Well, one book in them, not necessarily good. But, I mean, it takes some sort of self-discipline to sit. But he did write it while he was in jail. I mean, what else are you going to fucking do? Why? Sorry, any credit I've just thought I was going to give him, I've just realised is retracted.
Yeah, we talked about that before. It's like, well, you know, at least he did it. It's a bit of, you know, it takes, like you said, it takes time, it takes discipline, proofreading, or one would like to think there was some form of proofreading. But the problem is with it, the dedication section, even the introduction, the introduction almost makes reading the book pointless. It tells you what happens. There's not a lot that happens. There isn't really much of a plot, to be honest. It's stupid. But the plot is outlined in the introduction. And we're like, okay, thanks for that. And then I can't remember which order. I think it was dedication, introduction, book. And it was just, oh, man. You were just furious before we read it, which was fucking unbelievable. Like, only Lorne could make you see with rage before you even read the first line of the fucking book. You know? Even the title's stupid. And the cover. Anyway. The point I was making, which is a long-winded way of doing it, was that Lorne is not very proficient with language, neither writing nor speaking. And his arrogance...
Nor singing.
Yeah. You know, right, we'll get onto that another point about his songs and stuff. But if you couple arrogance with stupidity and ambition, you get Lorne, don't you? You just blind stupidity with an arrogant like ambition and a total lack of integrity, a total lack of self-awareness creates what we have. The lawsuit, the book, it's children's story. Not that we've gone into that. I mean, fucking hell, if you think Taking Abroad's bad, wow. His unfinished book, which we have to give him a bit of leeway because it's like a first draft, one would assume. But God, the book, The Creature, man, that's just diabolical. I mean, we were struggling to get through it, even from a morbid perspective of kind of, just kind of ripping into it, really. It was really hard work. We didn't even finish it, but we are planning to. Didn't you finish transcribing it, Amanda James?
I blocked it out. I can't remember. I might have finished. If I didn't, then I'm close to finishing. I might have one chapter left. I haven't had time to go back and look. But The Creature is just like a combination of Lorne fantasizing about playing house as a couple of teenagers and like a survivalist story mixed in with his favorite thing, coffee, ham
cubes,
weak coffee and cheap ham.
Finding junk around and trying to turn it into something useful. He loves to do that. Think of all the trips to the dump, and because he's a hoarder. So he's the kind of guy who he did the tear down house project, and he agreed to tear down an entire home, and he wasn't going to get paid at all. He was just going to loot the junk from a house that had been deemed unsafe, and so dilapidated that they just wanted it to be torn down rather than repaired. And he was going to take those materials and turn them into things for his home. So in The Creature, he does the same. He finds junk all around and tries to turn it into something useful for his teenage family.
His teenage family?
Yeah, in The Creature, the main character is a teenage boy who falls in love with a teenage girl, and they get married and she gets pregnant. And then they decide to go for a hike on a mountain in the middle of winter in Maine. And they get stuck there and attacked by a creature.
Oh, they're not both 13 and called Derek and Kayla by any chance?
No, but close. They're maybe 18. Just fresh out of high school.
So, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, there's that common thread in his books that it's teenagers who fall in love with each other and have babies and get married very young. So I wonder if you could count them as like young adult novels, because that's the target audience for books about teenagers are teenagers.
Yeah.
I think that is probably, if you could put it into some form of classification, that's what it would be best suited as. But even that doesn't fit the bill really with his kind of style. I always tried my best to sort of review them as well, as fairly as possible, as hard as that actually is with Lorne, because you can't take anything else seriously. I'm like, right, okay, let's really... And I think we did, when we went through Taking Abroad, we were trying to give it a chance, but you can't really do that with that. It's a pity you missed out, Adam, really, but... well, it kind of is and it isn't, if you know what I mean. I don't think that you'll be dying and be going, oh my God, I wish I'd have read Lorne's book.
I've read honestly, I started Taking Abroad and I was like, nah, fucking, if I'm gonna read a book, I want it to be decent. I mean, sounds awful these days, because I used to love reading when I was younger, but these days I find it more of a chore, and I don't know if that's just society getting in my head with peer pressure. Like, reading books isn't cool anymore. But reading Lorne's books is a waste of your lifetime and a way to kill brain cells, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we enjoyed. Well, I say we enjoyed it. I'm glad we went over Taken Abroad. It was very interesting. But anyway, we're digressing a little bit.
I mean, it's a look into someone's psyche, though, isn't it? Whenever you read a book, especially someone you're interested in. Yeah,
that's what I was just gonna say. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do it, and it would have been kind of silly not to go over it. I think it wasn't particularly long. You know, each chapter we could do in a video, and the central theme of the book, as just amusingly crazy as it is, was I never meant to do it. That's basically what the book was about. It wasn't his fault.
See, I don't mean to get too philosophical or anything, but I think that's his overall problem, is never being able to take, that's not really philosophical, but responsibility. Philosophical, but never being able to take responsibility, like never actually going, all right, I did wrong, I'm going to do better. I mean, there's a lot of people like that in the world that don't do things as heinous as Lorne does, but they do live their lives like that, which is what makes him an interesting character, because you see it all the time, like people that do shitty things but then go, well, I did that because of this, and it's like, well, no, you're meant to break the cycle. Like, you can't just do shit things and then blame other people, but Lorne can for his whole life for really like bad reasons as well. Like, not getting food you want is not a reason to fuck a kid. Like, it might be a reason to have a little bit of a sulk, but that's it.
And that, you know, that is the central theme of the book, and that's the central theme of Lorneography, is he never meant to do it, no responsibility. I find it hilarious that is the core that runs through the book. That was what he was trying to convey. It was like, I'm in prison, I know what I did, but it wasn't my fault, so I'm going to write a book about it. It's remarkable, really. But I say it's remarkable, it kind of isn't, because what else is he going to write about? You know, he's not got a great imagination. He's dull as fuck. He hadn't done anything with his life other than get fucking locked up for trying to screw a kid. So of course that's what he's going to write about.
I just don't know how you could sort of live over 50 years throughout your whole life and never have kind of a hobby. Like, I go through, I guess,
he's got loads, dude. What are you on about? I think you're being a bit unfair here.
What?
Poet, songwriter, cooking, entrepreneur, carpenter,
I've seen him,
renovator, author, fitness guru.
His cooking, like his mum came round and made burgers, and he complained because she was going to put salt and pepper in them, and then when he ate it, he went, "It's fucking bland," and it's like, well, obviously it is, you retard. And then, and his fitness is just wanking off shake weights.
Yeah, and that was the shake weight thing.
That's what's funny. Everything he acts like he's an expert in all these things, and everything he does is horribly half-assed, horribly uneducated, unresearched, from his cooking to his workout videos to his singing. Those workout videos were meant to be like tutorials to help people get in shape and lose weight and be healthy. And he chain smokes and has no idea what he's doing anyway. He's not dedicated to like fitness or anything. He doesn't understand anything about it. That's just the core of everything Lorne. He during the throuple, I think, or I don't know, in one of the recent relationships, either with Casey and Jamie or with Casey and Jamie at the same time, he told them about an idea to be to write like Christian music. And they roasted him because and they roasted him because he's not religious. He doesn't go to church. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But he thought he could do it, just like he thought he could write a book and write a script for Casey.
Well, if you could say anything, he's ambitious. I mean, one person who I'm not gonna take fitness lessons off is a fat dwarf though. So
Why would you?
Yeah. Ambition would be learning about this thing and becoming good at it
true.
before you try to teach others. He's lazy.
Anyway, it's his
And I
birthday
hate
month.
him.
Start having a go at him. Right, so I've come up with I've not come up with them. I've stolen from that website, gone over numerous amounts of his phrases and sort of picked a few. We're going to go over 87 of them. Not in this video. We're going to do about 7 of them in this one. So, the first one, it's not a bad thing and I don't unwelcome it, to Tiffany about pointing out his lies.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I don't unwelcome it. It's like, what a
unwelcome it.
strange way of fucking... This is what I mean about his utterances. He doesn't... I mean, to be honest, I'm always trying to improve my vocabulary. And I think it could be better. And I almost... that's why I read a lot. I always think it's important to improve in some way. So I'm not the greatest kind of... My communication could be a lot better. And I'm always trying to find new ways of expressing myself. I think it's really important. Communication is really important. But with him, he's stuck, isn't he? Because I don't think he reads. And he can't formulate. It's like he's just not articulate at all. It's not a bad thing, and I don't unwelcome it. I mean, it's just funny, isn't it? It's not his craziest comment he's ever come out with, but
I don't think
also,
it's that like, I mean, I understand what he's trying to say. It's just an odd turn of phrase.
Exactly, yeah. But it's funny that it was about his lies. Can you remember the exact context behind it, Amanda James?
Yeah, I remember. It was Tiffany. He was talking to Tiffany, and she was talking about how it's uncomfortable to go. They were talking about like Molly and the Sting. I think it's during the time they were reading the chat log, and she was sort of playing counselor to him to try to help him sort through all this or figure out why he did it, in his words, which the answer was he did it because he wanted to, but he refused to get there. But she said, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be painful to talk about these things, but you need to push past it and talk about it. And that's when he said, don't unwelcome it. Stupid.
Oh, yeah. Just a silly, funny phrase. That's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with, really. It's just like, you'll listen to... I think that's one of the reasons why we like the catfishing calls. I prefer the robot calls more than anything else. I think it's because I don't have to put up with anybody's like personality, and that's no disrespect to any of the catfishes specifically. It's just, it's more like you're listening to Lorne just talking to himself, which is bizarre, but I prefer that because it's more ridiculous as well. But the reason I think that, for me, that I like the catfishing calls is because there's always a possibility he's going to come out with something stupid and something funny. I can't really... I mean, we've done loads of streams about trying to get to the bottom of why we find the catfishing entertaining. Still not 100% been able to put my finger on it because it's a very odd medium. I don't really think there's anything like it. I don't understand why. Like, I can sit there at work tapping away on the computer or doing whatever. You know, it's not all... And... I can just relax totally by listening to Lorne raging about Jeffrey. Like, I don't understand why. It's very strange.
It's almost the perfect thing to like put on the background when you're doing something else, though. I find, like, if you've got a sort of menial task to do that you don't need to concentrate too hard on, you can put it on, and it's comedic to me. But yet it's like watching something like Come Dine With Me or something when they fall out with each other. It's like watching almost reality TV that's unintentionally funny, but I suppose half of it is purposely funny with the catfish. But I mean, some of the calls are insane, but there's no one else you can like hear so much into their mind in the world than Lorne. I don't think.
People often say, and I think even some of us have said, the reason we find Lorne so interesting is because we've got so much information about him. I always feel that that's a bit of a circular argument, really, because, well, why do we have so much stuff about him? You know, so for instance, I've heard a clip of the Dustin McFetridge call with the decoy. I turn it off after 5 seconds. I'm not at all interested. I don't give a shit what he's got to say. He's a dull character as far as I'm concerned. I did find the video where he's at the wrestling match and I think it's on Joey's channel, where you can see him in the crowd holding one of them fake belts, which that was very funny. But it's really amusing. Anyway, there is something else to it. You know, the catfishing. I think maybe part of it is just the stupid scenario that it is as well. It kind of intrigues you because most of us in the community, we have like a curious mind. Some of us are, a lot of us are here for different reasons. Some just want the laughs. Some just want to berate a pedo, so on and so on. But I think definitely with us, and Tiffany and Shin as well, we're very interested in Lorne's life, all about it. We want to know why he's like he is, what led him to these moments that he, what led him to be the way he is. What's his psychological makeup? What's every little speck of his past life like? So I think that's part of it as well, because you're trying to get glimpses of information from it as well when you're listening. You're like, he's talking about Paula there, or he's having, he's telling us about Bunky. It's like, she's got a son, Bunky. Some of those early Ramona calls were great, just because he was always drunk. I used to love those. We must have listened to that butthole call shitloads of times, Adam. Do you remember? Oh, hello. Where's the audio gone?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, Adam, you there? His mic's off for some reason.
Oh, he's on mute. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
What one is the
Sorry, I'm here. Yeah, I remember that call. Yeah. I was taking a piss. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, because I've kind of lost the train of thought there. We'll go over to the next.
Which was amazing. The butthole call, which had some of the. That's one of the few things that's been like I've had 4 phones since we got sent that call, and it's been downloaded on every phone. If I'm ever stuck without like internet access or whatever, I'll just listen to that call.
Yeah, it is pretty fucking remarkable. It's got to be said. There's nothing like it.
He never even bought me a loaf of bread.
It's just got
that one.
It goes on for about 4.5 hours.
Yeah, and there's the Bunky stories in it as well. It's the bit where he goes, "I am not a sex offender. I have to register as a sex offender."
I'm not a sex offender. I have to register as a sex offender. Well,
and there's loads of like bizarre squawking from him where and you weren't going to sleep with the person that was there, and he goes, "Oh." It's like when his brain broke.
Yeah.
Was that Patterns one? What Patterns, Lorne? Oh, no.
I can't remember. I can remember what happened years ago. I can't remember yesterday. Don't ask me about Patterns.
I remember every fucking day of my childhood.
Oh. I mean, he's probably brought me more laughs than... Well, actually, not Ricky Gervais, but...
Oh, don't start wanking over him again.
Well, he is my hero, but he's brought me a lot of laughs, Lorne. I'll give him that.
I'd say he's giving you more than Gervais. Gervais's content, ironically, Lorne's produced more great content than Gervais and all the fucking great comedians put together, all totally unintentional, of course.
Well, but that's it. If it was intentional, it wouldn't be funny, would it?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's the humor of it. He's not a he's not a comical genius at all. Anyway, so the next one, it's not very good written. Nobody else matters to. The next one that you can see is nobody else matters to me but you. You're the only reason I'm staying alive forever, or for as long as possible. That was to Winnie.
I remember hearing this.
What the fuck is that? He actually thought that he was going to somehow achieve immortality.
I think he may have even twice sort of said, "I'm going to live forever."
Yeah, he mentioned that in one of the Casey calls, didn't he?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure like someone says to him like, "You're old," and he goes, "I'm going to live forever," and then sort of realizes that's possible.
Do you know what it is? It's just occurred to me. It could be that Lorne hasn't really come to terms with the fact that we're all going to die one day. He hasn't really grasped it because he's so immature. He's like in Father Christmas world. He thinks that, Santa brings you presents and we live forever and there's no such thing as death.
I think he does understand that he's going to die. We're all going to die, but he does not grasp what his actual age is. I think he feels like it's a lot further away than it really is. Like his mother, he talks about how his mother is in her mid-70s. He's not that far. I mean, he's how old is he? 52? I don't even know, but he's in his 50s, right? He's not he's halfway done, more than halfway done. I don't think he realizes that. That's why he says, "Oh, I look like I'm in my 30s." He's stuck. He's stuck somewhere in his life, and he's not at the mental age of a 52-year-old, and it hasn't caught up with him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
That's what I think.
And also, he is aware, sort of the sort of looming spectre of death, because he said to Casey, "You do realise when you're dead, right?"
Yeah, when you're dead, you're dead.
Which is one of my favourites. That is just a remarkable comment. Just to remind you, you do realise that dead is like a permanent state. You can't just magically you can't just respawn.
That's not the first time he said something like that either. He said to Ramona, it was really funny because Ramona was trolling him. Lorne said something like, "Everyone thinks, people don't understand that once you're dead, you're dead. You only have one life to live." Or he said something like that. "You only have one life to live." And Ramona said, "Wow, Lorne, you should be a motivational speaker. That is very wise." And he said, "Well, yeah, people,
that's brilliant.
Everybody thinks you have more than one life to live, and you don't. Who the fuck thinks that?" I mean, is that like a common way people think, "Oh, well, I'll fuck this life up. It's fine. I'm going to live again. I'm going to have another life."
Yeah.
Oh, I have a good one too. I think I mentioned it. I mentioned it last time we streamed. It was from some old call with Emma. Oh fuck! Now I lost it. What did he say? He said something like, a question was asked about evolution. Someone asked him, "Lorne, do you believe in evolution or creationism or something like that?" And he said, "Well, best way for me to answer that is I believe in God and I believe in humans."
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I think someone said it in the chat earlier, though, didn't he? At one point, he said something like, "Believing in you means I believe in you."
Oh, yeah, he does that all the time. Someone will ask him to elaborate and explain what he means, and he'll just repeat the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very good with his circular arguments, his Lorne. But yeah, that's I like that comment because it's kind of like an insight into his grasp of mortality. He doesn't really seem to have a good grip on anything, does he? I think this is one of the things I've struggled with Lorne. He's not a very sophisticated human. It's almost like we're mocking, and we and you've talked about this a lot, Adam. not so much Amanda James, because she any excuse to have a go at this guy. It's almost like we are persistently picking on the divvy kid at school, isn't it? Who's a little bit slower, but we can get away with it because of what he's done, because of the fact that he's a predator.
Yeah. No, I mean, if he was just some regular guy you'd come across, and I think, like, when you look at sort of the older days of Chris Chan, there was almost an element of, obviously not now, but back then, of sympathy, because he was just sort of a slow-minded person that put himself out there, and I think got manipulated into a lot of what happened. But I think with Lorne, he was quite a detestable human. But yeah, if somehow he'd come into our scope without doing what he did, and we were just here making streams and taking the piss out of him, then we might be quite reprehensible characters.
Yeah. And it kind of, the more that we look at him, it's like he's not, there is a little part of me that thinks he's just too dumb, this guy. Like, take some ownership. It's almost like there's no excuse for being that stupid. But another part of me thinks he's just not capable of. That's why I think he's like a 200,000-year-old human who's been plonked in the modern world. There you go. There's a smartphone. There's a chat log. There's a decoy. Knock yourself out. And the aliens are just sat on some ship laughing their fucking heads off. That's what it seems like. He's like not. But like you said, he's so detestable, and he represents the worst elements of humans that we can't really give him a break. But I like it because one of the important things about life is how to view and treat your enemies. How do you hate them, or do you not have sympathy for them? Because it's each person's responsibility to be better and to do good. But what do you think of them? Do you think they should be wiped out? And it brings a bigger question in regard to, well, what do we do with these people? They're still humans. They've been created by us. We're all part of the same entity. And, I mean, I'm going a little bit too larger here than the scope of these silly videos. But that's one of the reasons why I think it's they're interesting discussions to have, and why the Lorne saga encapsulates and stimulates so much interesting conversation. Anyway, on to the next one, which I don't know whether you can see it on your screen there, but you can talk all you want. It's when you act on it, that's when it becomes criminal. To Casey about how it's okay to talk sexually to children.
Oh, he really believes that.
Yeah.
Well, he mentions it in his lawsuit, doesn't he? Talking with females online is not such a terrible thing.
He said his lawyer told him, you can talk dirty all you want to kids. It's just when you try to act on it. But that's not true. Bearing like obscene material to kids is against the law. There were a lot of guys who never even left their home to show up to the sting, and they still got busted, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them that didn't understand. I think what you're getting at, Amanda James, and I remember was it Nathan Downhour? Is that his right name? I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure the had the comment said, "Well, I haven't done anything yet." Like, I'm sure there was a few that, like you said, didn't think they'd done anything wrong. That they were like, "Well, I'm just chatting." Even when they turned up, it's like, I haven't done anything yet. And some of them even shouted it out as they were fucking on the floor having guns pointed at their head. Who was the guy that said, I haven't done anything yet? Yet, as in to imply, well, he never had the chance, or he would have done. Who the fuck was it? I remember he being a really horrible bastard as well, like one of the worst ones. I haven't done anything yet. Some guy who was like some martial arts teacher or something. But that was funny. But yeah, a lot of them didn't understand the law. And also, if you take aside, if you put aside the actual legislation issue, the law, in other words, morally, they didn't think there was anything wrong with it, which is the bigger thing. It's like Lorne genuinely doesn't think it's a big deal telling a kid to stick the middle finger in and report back on how it felt. He doesn't. And we've talked about this before. It's like, it brings up, did Lorne fully understand the scope of what he was doing? Did he have the foresight to understand the damage it would do? And, you know, we can say it doesn't really matter because he knew it was wrong, which of course he did.
Well, no, I don't think he understands the damage it would have done psychologically had there been a real kid at all. But he wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about getting Mr. Penis. Yeah. Some service.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily funny. It is funny with his... It's slightly amusing because of his ignorance. It's a little bit frustrating, really, more than anything. But it's like... It's almost like he's trying to be profound. You can talk all you want. It's when you act on it. That's when it becomes criminal. Well, no, Lorne, you're wrong again. It's like, fucking, does this guy ever get anything right? No.
No. I mean, there's a reason he finished last out of everyone in their exams at school.
Yeah. Good old Lorne.
I don't think he was as good at basketball as he claims either. I mean, look at him.
Yeah, you have to have a reasonable height, one would think.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, Muggsy Bogues was, 5'6", but I think Lorne is just not a capable athlete at anything. He's just too uncoordinated, and I don't think his brain has the mind.
Oh.
Well, judging by his singing, he's not as good at anything as he thinks he is.
True.
He thinks he's good enough to be a professional singer. So I definitely wouldn't take his word that he was good at basketball when he was 11.
No.
I really hate his singing as well. It seems to get worse and worse. Like these days, he just screams, and it's just like ear rape when you hear it. Like, I don't think he was ever a good singer, but at least like years ago, it was sort of bearable. Now, whenever I hear him sing, I have to just skip that part of whatever I'm listening to.
Oh, the best is when he's drunk, because he'll be singing along to the radio, and he's a solid like 2 or 3 seconds behind the music, just screaming his head off.
Oh, whenever he sings as well, he just randomly makes up the lyrics, even to like really well-known songs.
What a clown. To be fair, I really enjoyed his rendition of the Chicken Wings song. To be fair, I thought that was a really good effort, especially under the circumstances. I mean, there was he was under so much emotional duress at the time.
Even though he was sat at the parking lot at work.
Yeah, he's drunk. He's listening, just sat there listening to this fake funeral on the phone. Fucking idiot.
Chicken wing.
Whenever I want to laugh, I just put that on. It never fails to just yeah. Right, okay, so the next amusing philosophical profound statement from Lorne is, I've always wanted to have a kid. I've always loved kids. Not in that way. Not in the kind of way where you got caught up in that sting, though. That's not how I've always loved kids.
That's not me in bed with another man called David.
Who's
I don't know
LJ?
if I believe that one.
LJ was a character a long time ago that was made it was meant to be Lorne's like estranged son.
Strange son. He thought he was talking to his...
Yeah, Lorne had his son. Yeah, I just listened to one of those calls the other night. When LJ hung up the phone, he said, "Okay, I'll talk to you later, Dad."
Oh my god.
But he doesn't realise, because LJ's voice is Reborn's voice as well. It's all the same.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute. It was Will's voice as it is in like the catfishing calls with
Yeah.
Oh
Jamie.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly the same.
Uh-huh.
No difference to accent or cadence. Exactly the same.
And that was Lorne thought he was genuinely talking to his own son.
Yeah, that
Well,
might
I
have been
think
before Will was introduced as a character. Because
yeah,
Will was Winnie's husband. That's how
yeah.
he became introduced as a character. Reborn voiced many characters throughout the years, and
It's a
before that
TSA officer before that, wasn't he? As well, I believe.
was the a TSA character. I know Crestfallen was. Dan was
Fulham
the
was,
TSA
yeah.
guy. Yeah, they all just recycled. This whole world with all these different characters was really just like 3 people, and Lorne never figured it out. Especially a voice like Reborn's voice and Crestfallen's voice, they're recognizable. They're distinct voices,
Yeah.
you know. And they didn't bother to disguise them. Like Ember would try, and she did a good job too, disguising her voice. Even though you could clearly hear that Winnie was Emma, you could clearly hear that they were the same person. Even with Matilda, you could hear it.
The first time he spoke to Winnie, didn't he? The first time Roy spoke to Winnie, he was like, "No, that's Ember. Piss off."
And yeah, and he was like blackout drunk, and he figured it out immediately.
Yeah. But then I think that comes back to Lorne's will to believe in it if he thinks there's going to be pussy at the end of the rainbow.
And he's just stupid.
Well, yeah, that too.
Just shockingly stupid.
Yeah, I kind of like this statement because it's basically what he's saying is, I love kids, not just in the way I want to fuck them, but also I love to nurture them. But that line would be very blurry with Lorne, hence his nieces, you know, so it's kind of him trying to justify his paedophilistic nature, which is kind of amusing, the way it comes out. Plus he's saying it to, hang on a minute, if he believed he had a son, who did he think the mother was?
A woman named Carrie that he said he had either a one-night stand or a series of one-night stands with in Washington State when he was like in his mid-20s, I think. She was one of the, he told Winnie that he slept with a girl named Carrie, and Ember took that and ran with it and said, "Oh, somebody contacted me and said that they're Carrie and they have your son, and they never told you about it until now." And of course, Lorne's son Googled him and found out, because Lorne didn't want to tell him about the sting, or he wanted to be the one to explain it to him because he would have all the excuses and reasons why it wasn't really his fault. But before he could do that, his son Googled him and found out everything that he did. And then Winnie had to be on the phone for all their calls together. And you can imagine how that went.
It's fucking funny how many amazing characters have come into Lorne's life. All of his life has just been complete fabrication, which is so amazing, so funny.
At first, he didn't quite believe it, that it was his son, but they talked him into it. He was believing it.
Well, I think part of the reason he went along with it was to sort of prove that he wasn't a virgin in a way. Because I think, like, if he said no, because the only way he could have, like, 100% said, "No, I haven't had a kid. I've never slept with anyone." But he didn't. So I think that's why he was almost, his hand was forced. It was like, say this is your son, or you've clearly never slept with anyone.
Well, I think he even told his mother that he had a son. I wonder if he started calling her Granny, like him taken abroad.
He tells everyone about these fantastical things. He doesn't even think, like, maybe I should keep this under my hat or whatever. Like, he goes into his rape class and starts saying, "Oh yeah, I'm dating the girl from The Sting," and everyone else must be like, "What are you talking about? This fucking moron!" But
right. So his next bizarre statement is she keeps peddling up a fucking road she's not gonna like to Emma about Winnie.
This is super. Like, why use
Like
the
on a
word?
bicycle?
Yeah, like, or a little go kart. Like, why use the word pedaling? Like, you could just say going, or even driving would make more sense.
Traveling. Unintentional travel.
It's like he's trying to be a little bit clever in what he says. He's like, he tries to come off with these, like we've said before, these little sayings that people have about, don't go driving down the road, or, some kind of profound, statement about a journey, the journey of life, and taking a road, and you're going to want to nip into the service station as a metaphor for taking a break, but he just can't articulate it. He can't come up with anything. Don't forget about his poems. I mean, none of them are any good, but he seems to think, the fact that he's a poet and he's not very articulate, he's not very good with language, there's still a little part of me that thinks, well, good on you for at least trying.
True.
What do you think about that, Amanda James?
What do you think I think about that?
I already know, but I want to hear you say it because it's funny.
Yeah. I think again, I would say good on you for trying if he actually read poetry and tried to learn anything about it, about how to, the fucking format of a poem. I don't know. I don't know anything about poetry, so I'm not going to try to write it. It's arrogance and stupidity and, again, a lack of self-awareness. That's what I think. No, I don't think good on him. I think he makes himself look dumb by not knowing what he's doing and then trying to present it like he does.
Did you, Adam, did you hear about him writing a poem for the scammer?
Yeah, I did. I remember it. Reborn said it. It was like the first line was something like, "It's taken me a long time to get this money," because he had to get like a credit card to pay the scam.
It took a long time. Yeah. Took a long time to get this loan through.
I wish he had written a poem for the mayor of Italy.
Maybe Janet was the mayor of Italy. I don't know.
I'm actually talking about that stuff. I'm surprised he's not ended up in like Amway or Tupperware or something by this point. That seems like exactly the sort of people that would get a fucking idiot like Lorne to.
Can't read his emails properly, so.
I think he would if he was exposed to social media enough. I definitely think he would get pulled into some MLM kind of stuff. He, whenever you hear him talking about his web stores, he remember he went to Walmart and he told the young girl, well, if you have a way you want to make some extra money, come talk to me. I have a way. He's talking about these like drop shipping things. I don't know much about them, but they're there's some kind of, I don't know, scam, like make money quick scam, and of course the people who buy into them don't make shit. So he does fall for that. He got an email or a text on his phone or something that told him if he agreed to get his truck like wrapped in a Mountain Dew advertisement, they would give him $600 a month or something crazy like that. And he was like trying to go for it.
But like, do they know? I mean, do Mountain Dew know that he can't drive near schools or anywhere with kids? I mean, surely the advertising opportunities, if they wrapped his truck in a Mountain Dew livery, would be limited.
Well, it was a scam anyway. It's not real.
Yeah.
They weren't. I don't know what kind of information they're trying to get out of him, like his banking information or something. I don't know. Or maybe like, you pay us this much now for the wrap or whatever, and then we'll send you the rest of the money. It's something like that. Yeah. Just some scam to get his money.
Very amusing. Writing a poem to a scammer. Fucking fantastic. So, I tried to do good things. I've always tried to do good things, and it wound up biting me in the ass, and I lost my mind. And I couldn't think straight, and that's what happened at the Sting, with the Sting, to LJ's possible son. It's kind of funny.
Wait, what? So is he trying to claim that meeting up with Kayla was a good... Well, I guess he is, because he did try and say at the start, like, you can trust me, but don't trust other guys. But that... Again, it's him not taking responsibility for himself. He just... It's outside of his, like... skill set to actually ever look myopically at himself and go, well, do you know what? Maybe I'm the fucking problem. It's much easier to blame it on everyone else for him, isn't it?
Well, we've seen this before where he's the hero, always. This is another thing, as well as being all the things that we mentioned earlier, he's also some kind of a superhero as well, where he's always doing the right thing for everybody, but somehow ends up on the wrong side of the situation. He ends up being inadvertently being the villain. Like one of the most infuriating conversations, or frustrating, I would say, that he had with Tiffany, where he kept saying that when he was driving to the Sting house, it was thundering and lightning, and he was going to turn back because he didn't want Bud to be on his own. He thought about it, but didn't turn back, and then he missed the turning for the highway to go back on the highway. So he went to the Sting house anyway. He seemed to think that just saying that he thought about turning back and saving his dog from the thunder and lightning. Oh no, have I got this wrong, Amanda James? Was it that it was thunder and lightning, and he was going to save Kayla from being on her own? There was something about going back.
No,
for
you
Bud,
had it
wasn't
right
there?
the first time. Yeah, you had it right the first time. He thought about turning around because he knew his dog would be scared of the storm. So he thought about it, but he didn't. So you're right. It makes him look even worse. The fact he wanted to be with Kayla so badly that he disregarded that his dog would be alone and scared.
You're right.
He made the choice to
that
keep going.
That he thought that for some strange reason, pointing out the fact that he thought about going back and caring for his dog, but didn't, would somehow make him appear more of a better person. Like, what a bizarre thing to think up at that point. It's like, for a start, how do we have any evidence, even if that was the case? And even if it's true, you're just saying you're a worse human than what we thought you were anyway.
Yeah, but
it looks worse.
He's reaching for excuses, and it's like basically saying, well, I thought about not raping this kid, so that mitigates me from the fact that I actually was going to rape a kid.
Yeah, and it completely destroys any kind of plea of insanity that he might be able to make, because he clearly knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Of course. It's so frustrating to hear that whole, I was lost. My mind wasn't anywhere. I didn't even know what I was myself, or I weren't myself. He said that many times, especially early on. There are interviews with people, and any time that people have the opportunity to ask him questions, like in that call Clobber played recently, he was on a stream with Lorne was on the phone with Ember, and she was on a live stream, and people were asking questions in the chat, and people would ask questions about, you know, him going to the Sting house, and all of his answers were, I don't know, I can't tell you, because my mind just wasn't anywhere. I mean, he tried to make it sound like he was sleepwalking, like he really had no concept of what was going on. He can't be held accountable for it. He literally lost his brain. It disappeared from his head, and he was just walking around like a zombie. And that's stupid, especially if you watch the Sting footage. He's so excited to be there. He didn't look confused or where am I? What am I doing? I don't really want to be here. He didn't look hesitant. He was very determined and excited to be there.
Yeah, I haven't had
get things going. Ask him for kisses and all that.
You see, what's interesting about this is Lorne doesn't understand any aspect of a human's sort of, how can I put, a human's kind of duty, and so, for instance, he doesn't understand, or at least he doesn't want to. He doesn't understand his own behaviour. He doesn't understand his own thoughts, his actions. He can't seem to piece them all together. It's like, yes, there are times when I'm sure he wanted to do good things, but he doesn't understand that most of the time it's probably because he wanted to look good.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, those good things that he wanted to do were very fleeting. And ultimately, everything that he did was all driven by his own selfish impulses. He doesn't understand. This is what I mean about him being an unsophisticated human. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm only trying to sort of point out why he behaves like he does. But he just doesn't. He can't connect the dots in his brain. It's like, right, okay, I have these thoughts. What am I going to do about it? It's like we all can sort of take a step back and look at our mind. That's what spiritual books teach you to do, like Power Now. It says, you are not your mind. You need to observe your mind. The ego is the unobserved mind. Lorne doesn't seem to have any ability to look at that, to analyze his own behavior at all. And it comes out with nonsense like this. It basically means that it's like, this is why therapy for him goes fucking nowhere fast. He's one of them people that is like, he's the worst nightmare of these groups, rape class, if he ever went to AA, all that kind of stuff, that he's just a waste of time, There's lots of people
all
like
he's
him.
All he's looking for is who to blame and where that happened and who did this to him to make him do things that he didn't want to do, to make him do bad things. And he went through that with Tiffany when he kept insisting he was trying to figure out why he did what he did. He wanted to know the reasons behind it. And the reason is so simple and obvious, but that wasn't good enough for him. And it's because because that would put the blame on him. He didn't want that. He wanted to blame his dad or his brothers and sister or whoever, anybody but him.
His dad, who didn't bring him up, but only a little bit brought him up.
Yeah, only for a couple of years. He's still got a lot to answer for, that guy. Okay. You are fucking bouncing on the edge of fucking over the fucking edge to win it. That's a cracker.
This is one of my favourite quotes, to be fair, because it's just silly. It's like all you need to say is like, you're right on the edge there. Not edging. That's something else entirely. But yeah, it's just a silly quote. You're fucking bouncing on the edge of fucking over the edge.
Yeah, that's why these are interesting, because I know what he was trying to get at, as you just said, Adam, but it's the way they words it, which is just fucking hilarious. Yeah,
what his phrase, I think, what he was looking to say is, you're on thin ice.
Yeah, exactly. But you are bouncing on the edge. So I've got a picture in my mind of someone on one of them big inflatable balls that you sit on, and you're just bouncing up and down on it, and they're on the edge, and they're just going to fall off.
Yeah. Well, I told you, Andy, because I've been doing a lot of racing recently, and whenever I'm pushing right to the limits and I'm going to spin out in a minute, I think to myself, I'm fucking bouncing on the edge of being over the edge here.
And then you start laughing, and then you've lost the race.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, cheers, Lorne.
I just, the amount of Lorne stuff that creeps into my mind recently. I think I was in the supermarket and I saw the price of something and I was just like, what? I wanted to say unfucking believable, but that's not the quote. He says something else all the time that's like when he can't believe something. And it's completely gone from my mind now. But when you think something's sort of remarkable, or no, not in a bad way though, shocking. It's such it's one of his most used quotes, and I can't remember.
That fucking cunning.
It's along those lines. But it's not ain't that fucking. What was that about as well? You've got me all uncunning. It's like, what?
Oh yeah.
What does he think?
Got me all fucking uncunning.
But yeah, there's a lot of Lorne quotes that pop into my mind in real life now, and it's probably not a good thing.
No, we all spend too much time on the. That's one thing that Lorne has got right. We are all a bunch of internet weirdos, but we bask in that, which is fine.
Yeah.
At least we know it, sort of. That's how we justify it. Like,
well, it's not my fault. I'm an internet weirdo. It's Lorne's fault for being so entertaining.
Yes, I agree with that. Let's not take responsibility for our
actions.
Yes,
right.
And behaviours and pastimes and the way we spend our time and me wasting hours and hours doing this YouTube thing. Let's blame it on this guy. Let's take a page out of his book for once. So we'll get into the final one. I think shit better be fucking straightening around. Shit better be straightening around because some fucking shit's gonna fall in down a fucking hole to win it. What the fuck is he on about?
What? I can't.
I think I'll read it.
Thing.
I think shit better fucking be straightening around. Shit better be straightening around because some fucking shit's fucking falling down a fucking hole.
He does say fucking more than anybody I've ever known. Don't you think he says that a remarkable amount of times in every sentence?
Well, this is one sentence, so we've got how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. And, 1, 2, 3. 3 within the space of actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 words out of 8 in that last bit of the sentence, and yeah, quite a lot.
Well, he'll say it even when he's not angry. If he's just talking about his day, he'll be like, "Oh, I had to go get the fucking truck, and then went to Mom's house and took her fucking trash out, and then fucking Roy drinking his fucking beer." It's his favorite word.
But isn't it more that when he's drunk though?
Yeah, probably.
He uses the words fuck and shit a lot, and I think that sort of shows that he's got quite a bad vocabulary because people who do
else to say.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'll just use swear words or curse words or whatever. And I've got nothing against a good old swearing, but I think with Lorne, it's to fill in the gaps in his vocabulary because he does have kind of limited English.
Well, and I think there's a time and a place for language like that. I'm thinking of this correspondence with his attorney that he shared with Casey. His lawyer was talking to him about something, maybe about his class or probation, and Lorne responded with, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, "I just got back from work and now I'm reading about this bullshit." And he just, I get it's his lawyer. It's not like he's talking to a judge like that or something, but in sort of a, formal, professional sort of formal relationship like that, it's just not appropriate to talk like that. He just looks like a hillbilly or something, which he is. Well, not a hillbilly, but, like a trailer man.
Trailer man.
Yeah.
It sounds like a superhero.
I was just going to say that superhero that I was talking about, which is part of Lorne's psyche. He's the trailer man, isn't he?
He's trailer man wearing his fucking pants, stood on top of his trailer, taking photos.
Oh dear. Right. Well, we've gone over a number of his quotes there. Some of them rather confusing to say the least. Some of them funny, some of them just stupid. But it's been good fun, and it is the third day of Lorne, so we had to do something. And we could just go on forever. I didn't want to kind of read them out, but I'll just read one. Only because I didn't want to spoil potential future videos, but we can still talk about it. Dan Jones said, "Stop trying to lose me. Every time you do this, you lose me a little more," which is fucking great.
But it's almost like a line from a song that, if it wasn't so nonsensical, but like you're losing me a little bit every day, isn't that so far from being a reasonable sentence?
It's made me realise, like, or at least potentially, we'll look at some of the lyrics of his songs, because there's loads of them on YouTube, and I think YouTube kind of creates the word. You know, it kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of, a lot of videos now have not translations, but
Subtitles?
yeah, subtitles, like automatically creates them, doesn't it? So in other words, I don't want to have to sit there and listen to the song.
Right.
So YouTube might do it for me, is the point. It'd be interesting to look at his lyrics. We might actually turn that into a... I'll have a look at that anyway. It's a possible... Maybe I shouldn't keep coming up with ideas for Lorne videos. Maybe I should come up with ideas for proper, functional parts of my life rather than this. But anyway. Nah, it's just a waste of time. We don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Like, who's going to watch that?
Don't worry about that. Lisa loves you as a human being.
Speaking of nonsensical quotes, I was watching the Zoom video again for the 100th time recently.
What's it called that? I couldn't find
he went
it.
From,
I
don't
I think I'll have a cigarette video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. He went from raging about Jamie sleeping with Rod when they weren't together. And Jamie kept saying, "We weren't together." Doesn't fucking matter, Jamie. It doesn't fucking matter. It really does matter.
Yeah.
That changes everything. But there was one really stupid part that stood out to me. He went from raging about Rod to playing show and tell, which is, I think, his favorite thing to do, because there are so many videos that he sent to his girlfriends just showing them stuff, showing them his lawn, showing them the junk he bought at the auction, showing them his big trash fires in his backyard, just anything. He loves to do it. And I think it's probably because he's so lonely and has no one to show these very mundane, like everyday things to. But anyway, he's taking them around the trailer and he's showing them all these things, and he's doing it to guilt Jamie into dating him, because she said she was in love with two men and she wasn't sure if she wanted Lorne or Rod. So he starts showing her all the junk that he bought from the auctions to start their life together. He said, "There's Jamie's all over this fucking house. Jamie's all over every inch of this fucking house." But he was showing them the box of Christmas ornaments that he had, and he pointed to the angel that he bought for the top of his Christmas tree, and it's an African American angel. And Jamie told him to buy it, and it was like an homage to Ramona, I guess. And
Right.
Lorne pointed to the angel and said, "There's the angel that looks like Jamie. That's why I bought it."
What? And it was a black angel.
It's a black angel. I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
Oh, wow.
Jamie's not black, get it? He's just so delusional and stupid.
It's crazy, isn't it? It really is. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be more of these videos, guys. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. So I hope you continue to enjoy Lorne. Hopefully, there'll be something on Lorne's Day. We could do something. What day? I don't know. I've not worked out what day it is or anything. It's not like I've got it mapped out.
28th of October, am I right? Or maybe not.
17th, isn't it?
Is it the 17th? Is that early in October?
it?
Oh, yeah, it would be in a month, yeah.
Yeah, or the
Yeah.
18th. I really should know. But we'll figure it out.
Which, yeah. You should know when your 30 is.
I know. Right, okay. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thank you to Adam and Amanda James. Leave any comments. We'll be doing, like I said, we'll be doing some more of these. We've still got loads of the chat log to do as well. So it'll never dry up. So don't ever fret. But I'm sure there's plenty of other content creators doing plenty of videos at the minute. It usually is pretty busy around this time. So I hope you enjoy yourselves, and we'll catch up.